Hey everybody, it's Ken McElroy here, and here we are in April of 2020, and we're right in the middle of this COVID-19, and everybody's fearful, as you can imagine, and the federal government's throwing all kinds of money at us. And so I get lots of questions around this, and what's the most interesting question, and the reason why I did this video today for you guys, is everybody thinks that we're going to snap right back to the way it was. And so I'm going to tell you there's two reasons why I don't believe that. The first one is, and I'm just trying to be a realist here, because people that know me know I'm one of the most optimistic people on the planet, almost to a fault. But one of the great things about being around Rich Dad and Robert and Kim Kiyosaki and all the other advisors is we study people. We study books, we study behavior, we study recessions, we study downturns and upticks in markets and stuff like that. And that's really what we do full time. In fact, when I'm on the phone with Robert, it's always over a book, over an article, over something we've read, always. And we're always trying to figure stuff out and be better than we were before. One of the greatest people that we studied was a guy by the name of Buckminster Fuller. And the thing I love about Buckminster Fuller, he died in July of 1983. And it's kind of like Tai Chi or martial arts, but he says, don't fight the forces, use them. It's interesting because there's almost like a little Star Wars piece here, you know, it's like let the force be with you. It's the truth. So basically what he's saying, and it's true, is, you know, things are going to happen. They're going to happen processionally, and they're going to happen on their own time, whether you have a say in it or not. And that's kind of where we are right now. And I think what people are fearing is really the unknown. And the reason why I think a lot of people have so much fear is because they're not prepared. And that's the purpose of this video, is to help you guys understand what I'm seeing. And so hopefully this will help get you in a little bit better position for whatever it is that you're going to do next. So if you haven't had a chance to dig into Bucky Fuller's stuff, it's super complicated. It's really hard to read, and I'm not going to lie. Like sometimes I have to read a paragraph a lot, over and over and over and over, because it's so high level. But once you get it, you get it. It's like anything else, like riding a bike. So don't fight the forces, use them. And I think that's what's happening right now, guys, is a lot of us are trying to resist this. When are we going back to work? When am I going to get my job back? All those kinds of things, and you just got to let it go. They're important. But now what can you do as these things unravel? And that's what we're going to talk about next. So the two things that I really, really, really liked about studying Buckminster Fuller was called precession and lag. And the way precession works, if you think about it, as you drop a pebble in a pond, as we've all probably done, and you've seen the ripples come out in the water, those are called precessional effects of that rock. And so the lag are kind of the time frames. So in other words, there's a lag in everything that we're doing. New technology, there's a lag till it becomes, you know, something that's used a lot, adopted over time. And so the early adopters, as you guys know, there's lots of forces against lag. So precession and lag are really, really important. And I'm going to be talking a lot about that right now, because I think those are the things that we need to pay attention to. Because right now, the precessional effect that we've just seen is this virus, this COVID-19, and of course, we got all these shutdowns. And so now I'm going to talk to you about some of the things that I see, both on a precessional basis and on a lag basis, that hopefully you guys can start to make some good decisions right now. So the first thing is, this is a little complicated, but these are I'm calling this precessional effects of Lockdown 2020, and I'm going to show it along with the lag here. So what we all know is that we have, the first thing is that we had the COVID-19. So this is now, obviously, right? So this is present day, this is April 2020. And we definitely know that's happened. So let's take a look at some of the things that we've been challenged as a result of this. So the very first thing is that the government went on a lockdown, and I'm going to pull my phone out and show you guys some statistics. The government went on a lockdown, as we all know, and right now, as we speak, because I checked right before the video, we're north of 22 million people unemployed. Okay, now for a lot of you, maybe you haven't wrapped your head around this, but I'm just going to show you a couple things that hopefully we'll understand the magnitude of this. In 75, when we had stagflation, we have 2.2 million unemployed. In 80, with the Fed tightening, 2.5 million. The double dip recession in 82, 2.7 million. The early 1990 recession, 2 million. The dot-com bust, 1.9 million. The Great Recession, 2.6 million. As you guys know, that was in 2009. And now, here we are in the Great Lockdown, 22 million. So this is 10x higher than any other unemployment rate that the U.S. has ever seen. It's 10 times bigger. Okay? That's the first thing that I want you to see. Okay, and we all know that this happened just 4 weeks into this. Okay? So here we are in 4 weeks. This is part of the lag. We already know that's happening. So the bigger issue is, when are all those people going to come back to work? And everybody's saying it needs to be a V as opposed to a U. That's kind of what's being thrown around. Basically, what that means is we correct and we jump right back up. That's not going to happen, and I'll show you why. So the next thing that we're starting to see is we're starting to see all the stimulus. So let's walk through some of that. So the first one was the $1,200, per person, depending on your income. And then, of course, the increase in the unemployment. Okay, all very needed. I'm in the rental business. We have 8,000 tenants. We need those tenants to have that money, because guess what? They're not working. They want to work, and they need the money to be able to pay their rent and their bills and everything else, okay? So the stimulus money is really, 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 really important. Some of that money's out there. Some of it's not out there. This is actually creating a problem, okay? There's all kinds of things being quoted. Some say it's 2, 3, 4, 5 trillion. Some say it's 6 trillion. Doesn't really matter at this point. I'm telling you, it's going to be a lot higher, okay? So the money in the economy right now, as I checked, is about $2 trillion before all this. So imagine that. We have $2 trillion in circulation at all times in the United States, okay? We've just doubled it, maybe tripled it, okay? So that's factor number one that I want you to be cognizant of. The other thing that's happening is the employers have paid for the PPP program and the EIDL. They have applied for these, okay? So I'm happy to say that we received our PPP money last week. Now, it was a lot of money, but I have 250 employees, and guess what? I've been paying them anyway, okay? So I'm coming out of reserves and I'm paying it, and so it's definitely helpful for me, because my tenants are not able to pay rent, and therefore we're having to cover the properties, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And it's the same, not just for me, but for everyone. The restaurants have it bad, the bars have it bad, every small business has it bad. You know, the NBA, the NFL, the MLB, I mean, all of it. We're all in this together, obviously, as you know. This stimulus money is definitely needed just to prop up these businesses. I'm here to tell you, however, a lot of these businesses are not going to make it. That's the piece that you need to be super aware about, is this stimulus money is coming out. It's coming out to the people as it should go to them first. But now the businesses are getting that money, okay? And we don't know how much they're going to print. We just don't know. But the stimulus money is going to come in later when we talk about inflation, okay? So the stimulus money is coming out, and we'll just say that that's, let's call it, 8 weeks. So that puts us to, let's call it end of May, June, somewhere in there, okay? So that's the stimulus money. But that's going to keep coming, because what's going to happen is once they reopen the economy and people go back to work and all the governors figure this out and the federal government figures it out and they get the virus down contained, then people are going to go out. But behaviors are going to be a lot different. Let me tell you what's not going to happen. There's a lot of businesses that are not going to survive, and there's a lot of real estate that is not going to survive, okay? So next thing is you're going to start seeing defaults. So you're going to see defaults in every way. You're going to see people turning in their cars because they can't afford them. You're going to see people with businesses that have leased equipment, and all that stuff's going to go back. You're going to see defaults with commercial real estate, where a center has 15, 16, 20 tenants, and only 2 or 3 or 4 are paying, which is happening right now, okay? If the tenant aren't open. They don't have the income. They can't pay the landlord. The landlord can't pay the bank. You're going to start to see all this, and I think that you're going to start to see this in 4 to 8 months. Okay, so you're going to start to see these defaults roll out. And I'm telling you, the stimulus money is not going to help a lot of these folks because a lot of these businesses are going to be gone for good. Unfortunately, it's horrible, but it's definitely going to happen. They're not going to come back, and the people aren't going to show up just like it was. Nothing happened, okay? They're going to be super cautious, and everybody's going to be, even NFL games and NBA games, you're going to see, you know, conferences, weddings, all that stuff. Think if you're a hotel and you got a conference business, you're done, okay? That's a big part of the business. I actually own a hotel. We have weddings, we have conferences. We're shut down. There's nobody wants to do any type of get together with the weddings other than small family only stuff, okay? So that whole industry is very, very, very different, okay? So you're gonna start to see these defaults, and these are gonna start showing up. Here's the thing about defaults. There's nothing yet in that I'm aware of. You know, they're throwing the word called forbearance out right now with the lenders, but the lenders are only helping people that are in default. So first you have to go in default, and then then they can go into forbearance. But even then, if they're not getting the money, if I'm not getting the money from our tenants, or my friends aren't getting the money from their retail, you know, from their retail places, then they're done. This week alone, we saw Boeing take a big draw on their revolver line. We saw JCPenney's miss their biggest payment. They have over 700 stores. We saw Gold's Gym close 30 locations. And so we're starting to see these now, guys. I'm telling you, we're just at the very beginning. So you're going to see this over the next 4 to 8 months. And what's going to happen is people are going to hold on as long as they can, and the behavior is going to be all different. Some businesses will never come back. Some businesses will try to come back, and then they'll have to close later. Some are just going to you know, stick it out. Some that might have tons of extra cash might just stick it out over the long haul and just say, hey, I'm going to, you know, this is not going to be back to normal for a year or two. Whatever it is, it's going to be all very, very different. But those tenants are going to be ended up paying the landlords who have to pay the banks. And we don't know yet what's going to happen on the landlord side and on the bank side yet. What's definitely going to happen is we're going to start to see bank REO, real estate owned REO. And so with the bank REO, you're going to see all this stuff coming, guys. You're going to see, we're already seeing drop in housing prices. We're already seeing corrections all over the place. We're even seeing cars doing 0% 84 months. When's the last time you saw that? That's all because of this. They're afraid nobody's buying, and we're in a consumption society. So if there's nobody consuming, then people aren't paying people. That's just the way it is. So they're trying to get things back to normal. And so you're going to start to see all this bank REO stuff. And this here, I think you're going to start to see in 12 to 24 months. Okay, so now we're well into 2021 already before you start to see this bank REO stuff, I believe. And the bank REO stuff is going to have to get written down because, you know, let's say you had a building that was $1 million or a house that was $1 million, and maybe the market's 750, 600, 500, who knows? Somebody's going to take that hit. And it's probably going to be the bank because it's certainly not going to be the buyer of that property. So the bank's going to take back that property, those properties in collateral. And in a lot of cases, this is going to be bank, real estate owned, and bank managed. So a bank might take a commercial shopping center. Chase Bank might actually manage it, might be running it. And you're going to start, you know, they might have a Safeway in there and might be 50% vacant. So all that stuff's going to happen next. You're going to see that's going to roll out. This is exactly what happened in the last couple downturns when there were only, you know, less than $2 million people unemployed. So this is a big deal, guys. We have 22 million people out of work. Now, if it does correct quickly, who knows how fast, but it's definitely, these people are going to be coming back to work as the businesses need them based on the people falling back into the same consuming type of ways, okay? So this is the time to buy, obviously, guys, is we want to buy right in here, okay? So we want to start looking in 2021. We want to watch all this. I talked before about don't catch a falling knife. This is it. okay? The knife is still falling, guys. You want to be able to buy here from the bank, okay? The sellers are going to try to sell. They're going to try to sell because they're desperate, and they're going to try to sell so they don't have to take a financial loss, you know, and they're going to have a loan on something, and they're going to try to sell it to cover that. They're definitely not going to write a check. Otherwise, they might just, you know, we call it jingle mail. Just send the keys back to the bank, let the bank handle it, and then you can figure all that out. But this is the time to buy, guys. So what you want to do right now is you want to start getting your funds together. You want to start getting some liquidity, and you want to be positioned for next year. So basically, right off this year, it's done, okay? The big thing that you need to be most concerned about, in my opinion, is this thing right here. And nobody's really talking about it very much. But let me tell you one thing. You can't find any physical gold. So the guys that are gold bugs are out. And I'm not trying to push gold. I'm just letting you know that you cannot double, triple, quadruple the money supply, literally add that much more into the economy and not have some kind of inflation, not have the money get devalued. The money is going to be worth less. And so let me just walk you through this. So I did this video before in another video at kenmcelroy.com. We walked through kind of the peaks and valleys of real estate. So here we are, guys. We're probably somewhere in here. We're falling. We might even be closer up here, higher up in the recession, okay? But we're still falling, okay? And you want to get down into here into the recovery mode. And this is probably 2022 at the least. I'm telling you guys, all this stuff's going to slowly get to there. And then what you want to get is to here. And then you want to ride that thing through the expansion phase. And this is when you want to refinance and put new debt on and take advantage of these low prices, et cetera. And then you want to sell or refinance here. So Ross and I, my partner in 2019, we just sold $200 million worth of real estate in 2019. Now we look like geniuses. But at the time, everybody's like, oh, you guys are crazy. They were the 10 properties that we didn't want. They were what we were calling our toughest 10, you know, which were properties that, you know, were having management issues. Maybe we bought them in the wrong areas, whatever. We decided to sell them in anticipation for this. It was part of the strategy. In addition to that, we made a lot of money on it. We're heavy in cash. So we're waiting, obviously, for this point. And you do not want to buy here when things are falling so much, because right now we're falling into a depression potentially. We're definitely in a recession, and a depression is just a prolonged recession. That's all it is. But you want to buy at the right place, and things haven't fallen yet. So for all of you that are being super optimistic, and I'm super optimistic, you need to be a realist here, and you need to understand that we are somewhere in here, guys. We're right here, okay? This is called lag. And so this lag time right here, it's real, guys. And we won't have this here. It's going to take a time to get to here, take time to get to here, take time to get to here, and take time to get to here. And you don't want to buy too early. You want to let things, again, going back to what Buckminster Fuller said, don't fight the forces. Use them. So let things progress the way they're going to progress. Let the government pay out all the cash. Let the unemployment go where it needs to go. Let the businesses survive. Let the real estate go back to the bank. And then be in a position then to come in and buy. And that is how you're going to get really, really wealthy from this horrible crisis. So thank you for listening.